I want some clarity on addictions.
We talked about it a bit, how there are two parts to the addiction. One is a cellular compensating thing, and the other is the discord in vibration that translates as a void that you're trying to fill. So
because I really like to smoke. It makes me feel good. But it's not good for me.
So, well, what's not good for you is doing something that you believe is not good for you. Because there are a lot of people who smoke who are not experiencing the negative repercussions. Now, medical body of knowledge would jump right in the middle of that statement and proclaim it as inappropriate, but it's resistance that is not good for you. And so anything that, here's the way we would sort this out. We said it earlier today that if you're going to do something, line up with it. Don't say, I want to do it, but it's bad for me, but I'm going to do it anyway, because that's split energy, and that's what's not good for you. So if you believe it's bad, then don't do it. And you say, well, that's easier. I said I like it. I like it, I just don't think it's good for me. And we say, well, you can't have both of those things active in your vibration and do a good service to your physical body or to your vibration. If you believe it's bad, then stop doing it. But you can want to do it and bring yourself to believe in your well-being more than in the behavior that would jeopardize your well-being. And that's where we part company from science and medicine relative to this subject, because they want to look at evidence of sickness, and then they look for correlating behavior. And we don't look for correlating behavior, we look for correlating vibration. So it's possible to shift the way you feel about something and clean up your energy without taking the action. If you decide that, so where do you think you're at? Do you think that, what do you think is the path of least resistance? This is really the question that matters, because the path of least resistance means what's going to get you in the vortex the fastest. So we're just going to ask you, do you think that it would be easier for you to believe that you can smoke and thrive? Or do you think it would be easier for you to believe that you could stop smoking?
Oh, smoke and thrive. Heck yeah.
Well, that seems pretty clear. And so
sorry.
Well, let's clarify just to make certain, because, and we're not trying to guide this in either direction. We're not asking you what you want to do more. We're asking you what you believe is the path of least resistance. Do you think it would be easier for you to give up smoking, or easier for you to give up the belief that smoking is harmful? That's really the question, because it's releasing the resistance is all that matters. So is it easier to give up smoking, or is it easier to give up? And you know, this speaks to something that we've been talking about all day here today, because in every discussion we have maintained and supported and promoted and encouraged and done our best dog and pony show and sales job all day, every day. When we get a chance to talk to anybody, we say, you can change your belief. It's not the behavior that needs to be changed, because the whole world's out there trying to, that's what we were talking about, the Quran, the Bible, every document just about is a rule to try to control behavior. And everything that we teach is about the control of vibration, the alignment of vibration. It's not about controlling behavior. So ultimately, the path of least resistance certainly is in the alignment. Now, we also want to say to you that everyone we know who comes into alignment with who they are, then begins getting impulses, and often behavior begins shifting. In other words, that's what we said when we started with you about addiction, that it's twofold. It's what the body can, once you introduce something to your body, it compensates, and then that compensation translates as craving. And you feel better when you satisfy that craving than you do if you have a craving that you don't satisfy. But the other part of the addiction is the void that you're trying to fill somehow with it. And the void that everybody is trying to fill is the void of not being in the vortex. So once you reconcile a subject that's active in your vibration every day, as something like that is, and you make peace with where you are, and you come into the vortex, and you're smoking and in alignment and no longer beating up on yourself, and no longer trying to beat up on other people that are trying to get you to quit. In other words, that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest cause of resistance relative to the subject of smoking that exists on the planet today. People sitting outside in the cold smoking and resenting everybody that's made it necessary that they sit out in the cold smoking. In other words, all kinds of new dynamics going on around the subject of smoking. So as you figure out how to smoke and stay in the vortex, and smoke and stay in the vortex, now you're being in the vortex mind. We're just saying, we are not planning it, we're not plotting it, we're not even rooting for it. Might cause that part of the addiction to be soothed and therefore become something no longer wanted. There's a lot of rebellion satisfaction in a lot of behavior. In other words, some people smoke just because their mother told them not to. It's sort of the "you're not the boss of me" syndrome. So you can play it out any way you want to. There's no right or wrong in this. But the most important thing to take away from this conversation is, if you're going to do it, line up with it. Which means you don't have conversations with people about it. You don't apologize for it. You don't be upset about their perspective of it. You don't try to be right and make them wrong. In other words, you just sort of, and that's the thing that's tricky about any behavior that other people think that they get to have an opinion about.
Thank you.
That was good.
Thank you.
What is the time? The time is now. What's left undone? We're here to tell you there is nothing left undone. There is not one little thing, not one tiny little thing left undone. Here. Maybe this one little thing.